guys, welcome back. We're going to do a quick part 7 of Popeye. I want to get this control panel addressed, get it taken apart, fix this flaking off, I don't even know what it is, but we're going to get it all taken apart and see if we can't clean this up and make it look better. Now unfortunately, 2 of these carriage bolts are completely rusted out. These ones all look fine. So I'm gonna have to see if I can find 2 more in one of my parts bin. But look at this, just nastiness on the bottom of this. But we're gonna take it apart. We'll clean all this bracket up. We'll probably repaint those silver or something like that just to make them look better. I'll just probably wire wheel these on my bench grinder just so that I don't have to wait for them in the tumbler for days. So what I wanna do is get this all taken apart. I think I'm going to have to cut some of these off. I don't know what happened. This thing must have gotten wet or something. I do have new buttons I ordered from Mike's Arcade because these ones are cigarette burned, or I would reuse them. I'm going to save them. This one's not bad, but I bought a kit for Popeye. It comes with 2 new blue and an orange, but we'll save these old ones because you can always use them. So I'm just gonna lay everything on this towel. Yeah, this is pretty rusty, but we should be able to clean that up. I'm gonna have to get a drill to get all these Phillips screws off. I think I'm going to leave all the wires on the buttons for now. We'll just remove everything off. Well, I'm going to have to take these off the bracket so I can clean those as well. This bracket's pretty rusty, but I think we'll be able to clean it up. Spray paint it silver. Yeah, this apparently sat in some sort of a moisture or in a garage with moisture. I don't know if it actually sat in water, because if it sat in water, this wood would probably be completely ruined. Let me go grab my drill real quick. We'll remember that this ground wire comes from the strap to the joystick. I have new artwork for this panel. And I lost a nut. Find that afterwards. Oh, here it is. Okay. After this is fixed and cleaned up, put back together, we can, I got the ribbon cable for the PCB, so we'll be able to put that on and check voltages before we plug that in. See if that monitor is going to work. I did wash the monitor, but I obviously haven't tested it yet. So we can test that, and then once we get all that stuff, we just have this control panel. Then we can finish up that game. All these seem to be double nutted. Well, at least 3 of the 4 are. These are all 7mm, except for these carriage bolts. They're definitely smaller. Look like a 5mm or so. Washer spinning. Okay, let's get the C-clip off so we can pull the joystick shaft out. That came off pretty easily. It feels like there's grease on it, but I've had this happen with Nintendo joysticks quite often where the shaft likes to stick inside the joystick, but this one wasn't too bad. We'll clean all that up. Take the spring out so we don't lose that. So now we just need to take all these screws off. That one's stripped out. It's rusted. We'll use new screws. You know what? I'm gonna have to take these off. Whoa. Then we'll be able to get those brackets off. I have to take this bracket off. Before I can get to the other one, I'm not worried about losing that screw. These are all rusty. I'm gonna put new on. At least the pail nuts aren't too bad. Dropping everything. This will wire wheel and spray paint it silver. Let's go ahead and get this other one off. And I'll just look in the manual. If I remember, pale green is player 1. Pale blue is player 2. I'll forget, I'm sure, but I got the book in the house, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, I got one of the two. Kind of hoping I can get this one. Might have to go get a pair of pliers, but we're gonna try flathead screwdriver first. If not, I'll go grab some pliers, but sometimes you can just get them with a screwdriver. Yep, got it. One more. What I might do is, this bracket's the worst of the three. What I might do is use this bracket when I put it back together on the player 2 start. Just because this feels a little weak to me, and I don't want to have it real weak on the punch button where you're always pounding on it. So we'll probably swap that one out with the player 2 start, because I don't have any other ones of those right now, these brackets. You can probably order them, but I don't think it's that big a deal. Might have to go get a pair of pliers. Yep, my luck has run out. I'll be right back. We're probably gonna have to sand this wood down and primer it and then paint it. Looks like there was maybe a thin layer of vinyl or something on it. Yep, that's broke too. That's stripped out because of the rust. I wonder if I could spin this. Okay, it's spinning out. Look at how bad that is. Rusted. The screw is literally rusted onto the bracket. Still got to get this one out here. I wonder if pliers would turn it. It's only into wood, you would think. Man, this thing's on there. Well, I guess I'll worry about that in a minute. Look at how bad that's rusty too, with the wire wheel, all this down. I'm gonna definitely spray paint everything silver, because then that'll seal in any rust. But I should be able to wire wheel all the rust off. Let's try to get this stuff off. I think I'm gonna be forced into getting all new carriage bolts for this CPU, because it's just spinning them. This one might come off. I mean, if I gotta get new ones because I don't have any, I'll try to save a few of them if I can, so I have them for a future project. Let me grab a socket. See if it's like a 5.5 maybe. Yep, it's a 5.5. Yeah, there's where the cigarette burn is. It's not horrible. You might be able to polish it out. They are all stuck. Well, what I'm going to do is we're going to take this over to the bench grinder, and I guess we're just going to grind these heads down with the nut and just let them fall through, and just have to get new ones. I might have to probably order them now. All right, it wouldn't really fit on the bench grinder very well, so we're going to use my little air-powered angle grinder, and we're just going to grind them down. Turn the air on. We got that out of the way. This control panel overlay is not horrible shape. It's a little messed up there, like somebody burned it with a cigarette. Oh, that's cracked. But it's a good wall hanger if you want to have one on a wall. I always save stuff like this. This cigarette burns right there too. So now, here's our washer and our metal plate that we need to try to save here. Let's go back. Oh, actually, we can, you guys can see what I'm doing. If I can lightly tap this, I don't want to screw the threads up, so I'll just lightly tap it. You can always put the nut back on so you don't damage the threads. But I'm hoping just hitting them square and lightly. Now we're gonna have to wire wheel this down also and paint it up. Oh, there was Phillips screws in there. I didn't see those. That's my fault, but it's okay. We'll fix it up. We'll put a little bit longer ones in if we have to. So now, yeah, I totally forgot that those had screws in them. That's garbage. And this is just, this layer of plywood just peeling right off of it. You know, I could make another panel, but I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I want to go through the trouble of routering out the joystick and this slot and everything else. I think we'll just peel this off, do a little bit of body work, and filler prime it, and then just paint it black. Because it's only, this stuff is not even a 1/16 of an inch thick that's peeling off. So it's not a huge thickness. to worry about. I think if we just peel this off, sand the wood down, do a light coat of Bondo, probably be fine. But before I say that, let's get it off first. See what we're working with. Can't believe I forgot those screws. I don't think they would have came out anyways. Look at them. They're completely rusted. I had a piece of black laminate. I could probably sand this down real smooth and go over top of it. A piece of black laminate, but I don't know that I have a piece. That would be the ideal thing to do. Vertical grade laminate. It's about the same thickness as what I pulled off of here. I can go look real quick. I don't know that I have any though. I need to knock out these two bolts down here that didn't come out because the heads broke off. I'm gonna have to get a punch or something to pop those out of there. I think of these ones I'm gonna leave in. Let me go check and see if I have any vertical grade laminate. I'd have to router that out or cut that, which that doesn't have to be perfect because it gets covered by the plexi. So if I cut this with my knife or something, because I don't think I'll be able to get a router in there. I mean, I'm not too worried if it's not 100% perfect. You really only see this outer edge all the way around it. I don't think I have a piece, but I will check. I have a piece of off-white left over from Wizard of War. We can use this. We can laminate this to the plywood, which will make the plywood stronger again, which it's still strong, but I took that layer off. This will bring it back to the thickness that I peeled off, and now we can just sand this and shoot it with a can of satin, Rust-Oleum, or Krylon. So let's do that, because that'll make my T-molding to the right height and everything. I've been really digging this stuff. I've been a Krylon guy for a couple years now. But since they started making this Rust-Oleum with this different spray pattern tip that you can adjust, I really like this stuff. And it's $8 a can. It's not hugely overpriced. You know, you would think you see that tip and you'd be like, oh, it's gonna be $12 a can. Well, it's not. It's only $7.98 at Home Depot. So yeah, if I just use that laminate on here, that's going to save me from body working this and everything. We could just sand this down with some 180 grit sandpaper to smooth it out, and then put a couple coats of glue, and we'll just glue this new piece on here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my sander. I'm not going to hook up my vacuum for this little bit. Maybe we'll open the overhead door. And I'm going to sand the front and back with some 180 grit. But first, I need to get those two broken off carriage bolts out of the wood. I don't know if a screwdriver or this will work. These ones are all out, so those ones are all fine. So it's just these two on the end that were rotted on the back and the front. I don't smell like cat pee or anything. I was just thinking that. I'm like, man, I hope this thing isn't doused in cat pee. But I smell no signs of cat pee, so we're okay. Because if it had cat pee on it, it'd go right out the door. Because I have a cat, and I don't need my cat to be peeing on this because somebody else's cat peed on it. But I do not smell cat pee, so we're all right. That's stuff you got to keep in mind when you're doing this stuff. You know, animals are funny. Even dogs, you know, if you have dogs or something like that, and there was a cat that had peed on the cabinet, and a dog gets a whiff of it, a dog will even pee on the cabinet. So you gotta be real careful. Luckily, I've never had that happen to me, but that doesn't mean that it won't. And I'd rather not start having that happen. This one's being stubborn. I got the one out. This punch is a little angled at the end, so it's not making it any easier. I'll have to get a different punch and get that out of there. Okay, let's sand this down. Let me grab a sander, sand it down real quick. Okay, I used this straighter one and was able to get that other screw out. So now let's sand this down with some 180 grit, front and back. Now we're smooth. So now I felt one little piece of wood fell off the edge here, right here. This piece broke off. So I'm just gonna glue that on. I'm not gonna worry about it. We'll get a little bit of carpenter's glue in there, fill that in. Trying to keep this original panel if I can. There we go. So I need to just glue those two pieces in there. But let me sweep up and clean up, and then we'll come back and get some glue mixed up and get this piece of laminate on here. Okay, I set up a little scrap piece of melamine here. I made a little table. I'm gonna cut a piece of this laminate off with my knife. I'm not gonna worry about cutting it straight because we're gonna overhang it and then we'll cut it with the router afterwards. So I'm just gonna score this, just cut right through this thing. Okay, we have another piece if we screw something up. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go get the glue that we need. And we are going to put glue on the back of this and on the front of this. I wiped it all down. And we're gonna laminate this, and then we're gonna router out the buttons, or maybe even drill the buttons out. And then we gotta cut this out, which we'll probably just use a knife again. So let me go get the glue, and we're gonna have to do 2 coats of glue because that plywood, just to make sure that we have enough on there so it doesn't come popping off in the future. Okay, got my glue and I got a roller here. This is the glue I use. You get it at Home Depot. It's Weldwood contact cement. It's a permanent bond on contact. I mean, you can see this lid not wanting to come off because of the glue. What we're gonna do is we're gonna pour a little bit on here, maybe a little bit extra, And maybe we can, I'm trying not to, I don't want to get a bunch of glue inside that joystick area. So I'm going to fill up my roller here and come over to here, and we'll roll a first coat on. And we're going to wait until it dries completely, and then we are going to put a second coat on both surfaces. And use a well-ventilated area for this stuff because it definitely gets potent. Okay, that's the first coat. I'll let that sit, and then we'll come back and apply another coat. Okay, first coat is completely dry. You can touch it, you can feel a little bit of stickiness, but it's not coming off on my skin. So that's perfect. Let's get one more coat on. We'll let it set until it's pretty much feels the same as this does, and then we will be able to stick the two together. Now your second coat is not going to use as much glue as your first coat, because now you have like a base down over top of your wood that, you know, kind of sealed in the roughness texture of the wood. So now this coat is going to be a lot, it's not going to take as much. Okay, we'll let this set. We'll come back and we'll stick the two together. This very edge right here is a little loose on that plywood. I'm going to leave it alone because this laminate is going to hold it together. Okay, while this coat is drying, I'm going to use this wire wheel here. I got my safety glasses on. You want to make sure you wear safety glasses with this because these little bristles tend to fly off. So I'm going to get this rust cleaned up on these brackets. You can see how much better it's starting to look from one to the other. This is, got to get that a little bit better. You want to clean the rust off so that when you spray paint it, it doesn't come back. So by getting the rust off, once you coat it, you're going to seal the surface in. At least good enough. And also, when you're using one of these wheels, make sure you don't have any floppy clothes on or a hoodie with strings hanging down, because it'll catch in that wheel and you'll be in a world of hurt. I always try to keep my body away from it. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one, and there's one more, and then I have those two brackets for that hold the control panel down. So I'm going to get all those cleaned up, and then I'll come back. Because of how rusty the joystick was, I just went ahead and took the micro switches and everything off. I might have been recording the wall for a minute, sorry about that. So I got these off. I'm gonna wire wheel this and spray this silver as well. You can see the difference. If you don't wire wheel the rust off and then spray paint it, it's just gonna come back. If you wire wheel it off and then just put it back in the game, it's gonna start rusting again because now even more of the original coating is gone off the metal. So I'm gonna get this wire wheel down and then we'll get one more coat of silver on. Okay, it's all cleaned up. Put a coat on this first. I'm almost out of paint, but we should have enough to finish. Go back over to these, hit these with one more light coat. Okay, those are good. Go get the router out so that we can router those that control panel. Okay, I'm set up outside. I got my bit in the router. I need to adjust it. I want to have that cutting edge just visible, barely. Right about there should be good. And you want to go counterclockwise. So this way. Got to bring the bit down a tiny bit more. Okay, I think I'm going to drill the holes out rather than drill and router them. I have my bit here, my 1.1/8" metal cutting bit, and we're gonna just see if I can start a pilot hole. Start a pilot hole this way, because you don't want to drill this direction. And I'm not going to worry about the joystick, because we're going to cut that whole piece out. Now if we flip this over, we should be able to just do that. Perfect. So now we just need to cut that out and then sand these edges down, and then we can sand this and put a coat of paint on it. So hopefully I can sort of do this. Like I said, this doesn't really matter because it's going to be hidden by plexiglass. I just want to try to get it close. Try to move over here a little bit. doesn't look real good yet. Not good at all. And I'm okay if we go a little bit big. Can't use the router because it has a wheel at the bottom here and it won't fit. If we change that to a regular router bit, then we run the risk of routing into the wood itself. And we don't want to do that either. My knife blade's dull. So I'm going to keep whittling away at this until I get it to where it needs to be. Okay, I'm going to take a block sander with some 180 grit and I'm going to hit all these edges just to smooth them out. Make sure they're nice and straight. And then we can sand the top surface, paint it, spray paint it, and then we will be done for tonight on this control panel. I want to let it dry overnight before I go putting it together, because I don't want fresh paint to stick to the bottom side of that control panel overlay. You want to use a block rather than your DA sander because your DA sander spins. Same concept as sanding the mud on the side of a cabinet. If your router's spinning, you run the risk of lifting up this laminate and chipping it. Okay, now we're going to use a piece of 180 to roughen up the laminate. see how that hole cut out. Looks just fine. So let's go and put some black paint on this now. Okay, I'm gonna wipe this down with a little bit of wax and grease remover just to get off all the dust and any sort of contaminants that might be on here. You can see all that dust. We're going to use this new Rust-Oleum. I have it set on fan spray number 5. Let's try a different one. Let's see what this does. That's a big dot, little dot, littler. There we go. See, now that's more like a spray gun. I'll let that dry. And we'll do one more coat, and then that'll be good to dry for tonight. Okay, let's put on this last coat. All right, that's gonna dry overnight. That'll definitely dull up as it dries. It'll be a satin finish when it's done. All right, so that's gonna end part 7 of the Popeye restore. So that's just one step closer to finishing this off. So, all right guys, if you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe. Any questions or comments, feel free to send them. Other than that, I will see you guys later.